sponsored by Black Magic Design, the world's highest quality products for the feature film, post and broadcast industries. blackmagicdesign.com.
I'm here with one of the stars of Somebody Somewhere, Mr. Jeff Hiller. What's happening with you and your character this season? Can you give us a little hint?
This season is all about change and growth against all odds. And so my character is moving in with his boyfriend and starting to see what that's like and, see what it's like being in a relationship after just the first kiss. It's a little different.
It's one of those shows people have trouble classifying. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? How would you, if you spoke to an alien, how would you describe the show to somebody who's never seen it?
I would say watch our show because this is what it's like to live. Because it's an authentic slice of life. It's, it's funny because sometimes life is funny, and it's sad because sometimes life is sad.
What was your learning process on it? When did you come into the show, and how did you sort of evolve with the character?
Well, I just auditioned at the beginning, and so we shot the pilot way back in October of 2019, and there's a lot of time in between each season because of, global pandemics and actor strikes and things like that. And so I just have really... I just try and bring myself to the character as much as I can, make him laugh like I laugh.
What's the biggest difference between you and the character, do you see?
The biggest difference is that he is really good at throwing parties and I can't.
Do you have a want and a hope for the character this season and in the future for the arc?
I just want him to be happy because he brings so much happiness to the world. I love him.
And you're working with Bridget Everett. You have a lot of scenes with her. Did you have a relationship with her before? Did you guys know each other? Because you guys have amazing chemistry on screen.
Thank you. We kind of knew each other. I always say we had each other's email, but not each other's cell phone. Does that make sense?
Had you ever worked together before?
We had done some shows at Joe's Pub, like where I would come and do a bit and she would do a bit, but that was kind of it.
What's kind of the working relationship between you guys? Is it you guys get to improv a lot? Is it strictly scripted?
Yeah, well, it's improvised, but it's not improvised sort of how you think of improv. It's not like, let's be the most outlandish we can be. It's more like, let's try and make it seem real. Try and make it seem like how people actually talk, that kind of a thing.
Do you have anything else coming up? Anything else down the road?
Well, I am in American Horror Stories that just started screaming on a Hulu weighing event. So check it out.
So I'm here with one of the stars of Somebody Somewhere, Mr. Showbiz himself, Murray Hill. Talk to me about this experience and you being on this show.
Well, it's a dream. And I'm like Mr. Showbiz, Mr. Nightlife kind of guy. So, I'm always hosting, telling jokes, traveling all over the place. So the great thing about the HBO show is I was able to be a three-dimensional character and not just be the big, so I got to have some emotional scenes. I got married, you saw some inner life, and you saw a little bit of the showbiz glare. So I'm just excited that that HBO and Bridget and the writers gave me a chance to show all sides. And that's showbiz.
Yeah, I hadn't seen you really act before this. I think of you mainly as a stand-up. Are you still doing stand-up?
Oh, yeah. I any showbiz I can do, I do. Now I can say that I do crazy shows, and now I do some quiet acting.
And your character's evolved in this. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution and kind of what fans can expect in season 3?
Well, I don't know how much they allow us to say,
right.
But I got married in season 2, so now season 3 shows a little bit of a glimpse of the marriage life. And Joel has a boyfriend who's right there. And so we're all partnered up. So it makes Sam kind of reevaluate her growth and her intimacy stuff. So I think we all realize we started the show, as understanding your chosen family, and I think we're going to end on that.
I don't remember seeing this sort of thing on TV that much. Had you seen anything like this before? Do you feel like you're bringing something new to fans?
I get asked this question a lot, and I have not seen anyone like myself on TV ever, and I'm in my 50s now, showbiz. I'm just really grateful that HBO and Bridget took a chance, because there's been so much growth in representation and so much queer representation, but there's still pockets that are lacking. So it's just been a privilege to represent a trans man, and also not as a victim, and not as somebody getting killed in an alley, as a three-dimensional person with a big heart, gets married, has friends, so it's showbiz.
When I think of that sort of thing, it's like, that's a very New York thing. You're a New York guy. You don't really see that in Kansas. Was that a big difference for you as well, kind of seeing someone like you in that setting?
Well, I've never even been to Kansas, and, my character is agricultural doctor, professor. So, I had to kind of take the New York out of me, which is, I'm usually at about a 10 or a 12. So I had to bring Fred down to a 2, which is very challenging because, not everybody's walking around like, So, Kansas, it's a little bit more, well, a lot more for me, subtle. So that was where, the performance, skills came in, because I was like, okay, I'm not this big personality. I'm Fred, just a guy like everybody else.
And do you have anything coming up that you want to let people know about?
Yeah, I've got a memoir coming up, and I got to get back to writing it when I get home today.
Tim Bagley. Tim, how do you feel about to go see the show screened here today?
Well, it's going to be really fun to see it with an audience. They sent me like a screener that I watched on my phone of all of the episodes, but it's going to be a different thing to see it, bigger and with people around. So I'm looking forward to it. It's my favorite job that I've done. I love this show. And so for me, it's just a joy anytime I can spend time with this cast and crew, and then to see what we produced is really going to be fun.
And what can we expect for your character this season?
My character this season is, trying to figure out. I think that he's somebody that's always kind of climbed his own mountain and been very kind of independent. And so he's trying to figure out how to meld his life with Joel's life. And it's, it can be complicated and uncomfortable for anybody, but when you're my age, I think it's, and used to being, on your own and everything, I think it's kind of, there are some awkward things that come out. And also he shoves a lot of his feelings out, so it sometimes comes out in weird ways.
I'm here with Paul 3 and Hannah Boss, the creators of Somebody Somewhere. Guys, I have to say, how did this show happen? Like, what is the genesis of this show?
Well, HBO wanted to make a show with Bridget, and she was working with the Duplass brothers and Carolyn Strauss, and they came to us and said, what kind of show would you make, or what would you create for Bridget?
And we're both from the Midwest. I grew up on a farm in Minnesota, and Hannah grew up in Chicago. So I think Carolyn was like, maybe Hannah and Paul will have like a different angle on the show. And it was a dream, just the idea of coming up with a show for Bridget and for HBO. And so we just put our hearts and souls into it and drew on sort of the things that we loved about Bridget. And the rest is history.
Yeah, we've seen her in the downtown theater world and doing cabaret, and we'd known and admired her work. So it was sort of like this blessing to get to think of what we would create for her. And then as soon as she sort of heard our little idea, she was on board, and we got to just create this world with her and write with her, and it's been a total dream to figure this show out.
I was a little sad because they said that this is the third and final season.
Yes.
So this is the third act, essentially.
This is the third act, but in our minds, these characters go on forever. These are real people to us, so this is not the end of maybe there's 4 or 5 acts in our minds. They're all living their lives.
Was this kind of the plan from the beginning, like 1, 2, 3 and done?
I mean, we never thought we'd have a pilot made, and we never thought we'd have a first season, a second season, a third season, so HBO's been so incredible to us to give us 3 seasons. It's been a total miracle and a dream.
I think our plan was to do this for the rest of our lives, but we know that in the current landscape that's not possible, and so we just did the best that we could for as long as we could, and we're so proud of it.
I'm here with Mary Catherine Garrison, one of the stars of Somebody Somewhere. Mary, 3rd season coming up. It's the final season. Thoughts, feelings?
Do you want me to cry or not? No, this was a show we've all said we would, it never felt like a job, so I would happily do 17 more seasons of this. It was truly like a peak moment of my life.
For you, the characters coming to season 3, what can we expect?
Well, I think Bridget probably said this, but the theme of season 3 is growth against all odds. And so without spoiling anything, you see a lot of the characters in new emotional territories. Everybody's growing and changing, which is really fun to perform.
And anything come up next for you that you want to brag about?
No, not right now. I'm really savoring this, and it's nothing really compares. So it's hard to even consider doing anything else right now.
All right, how do you feel seeing an audience with an audience tonight?
The people that love the show love it so much that it just feels, the levels of gratitude I'm experiencing are insane. It's really like a very, very happy moment in my life.
I'm here with the star of Somebody Somewhere, Bridget Everett. How does it feel to be seeing it here with an audience at NewFest?
Well, this is what it's all about. We made the show. We're proud of it. We've spent a lot of time on it. Every frame, every word, every second of it. And now people are getting to see it and are embracing it. And that makes us feel like $1 million. Really excited.
What was the key to this character, the key to the show for you?
The key to the character and the show is to not make it feel like TV, to kind of just, you're just watching people talk and you're sort of watching them go through their life. It's like a slice of life kind of thing, and anytime it starts to feel like a TV show, we take it out and we try again.
Achieving that kind of realism, is that difficult?
I mean, you always sort of come into a scene and you're like trying to, you're kind of putting a lot on it, and it's always just stripping it back and just talking, and that's always the best. So I think once we found the rhythm of it, that we love doing it, we feel it when it's right.
And what do you want fans to take away from this season? What do you want people to walk away with?
Well, I want people to see themselves in it, to see something that they can relate to, that makes them feel better, that it feels like a hug, hopefully. We try not to be cynical. We love our audience, and we know that we have a loyal, loving audience, and they watch the show, they keep telling their friends, and yeah, let's just hope that the word of mouth spreads and more people see a little bit of Somebody Somewhere.
I'm sad to hear that this is the third and final season. How does that feel?
I think it feels like a miracle that we got to do it in the first place, and we're really lucky that HBO has been so supportive and they gave us three different seasons, and I don't know. So I've never been as proud of something as I am of this show and everybody involved. So it's a dream. I'm sad it's over too, though.
This is the BTRP Media Network.